lakini kufafanulia mengi kuhusiana na masuala kilimo biashara.
All right, now continuing with our conversation on quality with Susan McKenna, who is a coffee agent, exporter and importer. So let's say you have an exporter that you take your coffee to and you give them a particular quality. Say we have here AA, we have AB, we have PB, we have TT. And maybe they're used to getting AA from you. And then this time you don't have that quality, and that is what you normally export to them. What happens when you don't have that particular quality that you normally give to them and you have to export?
Okay, what normally happens, you can either outsource from other farmers or from other exporters or importers. You can either source, or alternatively, they can either take MB, because you have MB. MB is fairly quality to AA. Actually, there is no much difference between AA and AB, and still there is C. And sometimes the grains doesn't even really matter so much, although most of the people, they say that they want AA. And you find that when they do the capping, when the capping is done, you may find that grade C may even taste better than grade AA. So the capping matters. The most important thing is about the cap. It's not really the grain. Right. Although people depend so much on the grain, but capping is the most important. Yes.
All right.
Je, kuna wakati moja mtu ameamua afanye kwamba atasafirisha AA peke yake na itapendeza ama baadaye mtu atataka aongeze ladha nyingine?
Okay, sometimes there's a way they play around with the grains. Yeah. They can mix. You can play around with the grains until you get the flavor you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you to be able to reach a place where now you have people to export to, how do you identify the markets? We've had, last week we did have a very young exporter right here in studio, and he talked to us that the way he managed to get someone to export to was through social media. But maybe you can tell us, since you are entirely in that space, how else can I identify market outside?
Okay. What I may say, as I told you earlier, through referrals. And number two, the quality of coffee still matters a lot. Me being an agent, personally I don't deal so much with the market. Because because I'm an agent, I'm working between, I'm processing the documentation for you. I wouldn't know much about the market out there, because you're the one to go and, you as an exporter, you're the one to go and look for the market. You come and tell me, Susan, I've gotten the market here, I have the market, I'm exporting this coffee, I'm importing this coffee from here, from destination A to destination B. So that's now where I come in. When it comes to the market, personally, I haven't gotten any market. I've not gotten, but I have contacts for people, because if I'm importing, I'm doing the documentation for you. In most cases, I'll be able to connect with your client on the other side. But connecting with your client on the other side doesn't mean that I'm supposed to take your client. We don't do that. So I leave the client on the other side to deal with the exporter.
Okay.
To deal with my client. I don't want to interfere, because now I've been going against. Maybe I get my own client on the other side if I want to do any export. Yes.
Sasa wewe unavyozungumza inaonekana ni safari ambayo hukuanza hivi tu, kuna mahali ulianzia. Kuna mtu ambaye anakutazama na angependa sana ajiingize vile vile kama agent. Nieleze kidogo kuhusu safari yako na namna mtu ataingia vile vile katika nafasi hiyo.
Okay, what I may say, it's any kind of business, it's a matter of being passionate of what you do. You need to love what you do. You need to be very passionate. And how I got into this business, it was in 2021 when I left the employment. One of my colleagues introduced me to one of the clients who was importing coffee. And from that day, I never turned back. I got interest. I got to learn so much about coffee. That is how I engaged myself in coffee business. Because I do export, I do import. I still am, actually I'm an entrepreneur. I'm still doing coffee business here and there, although locally. Yeah.
Now, more often than not, we always talk about the fact that coffee earns our country a lot of revenue through exports. But here you are, you're also importing coffee. At what point or what seasons are we importing coffee?
Okay, you know, coffee is seasonal, and seasons depends with the regions. Sometimes you find that this particular time, it's Mount Kenya. The other particular time is Western, still Ukambani in Machakos. So you find that there's a time, coffee is not much, especially when harvesting time. You know, there's a process so that to get to a green beans, then they to be sold. There's a process. So you find that people rush during especially in Burundi. There's a time when there's the seasons in Burundi. The coffee is very cheap compared to Kenya. So you find most of the importers, they learn to Burundi. They go to Burundi to buy coffee from there, because by that time when here it's not seasonal, the coffee is very expensive. So buying from here locally, it is so expensive. So you'd rather go for the cheap one.
So
and the quality, yeah, that is when, when
we don't have enough for ourselves here.
Yes.
And if I want to get into the importing space and I do not have the funds yet, as someone who's getting into that space, are there any financial institutions, arrangements that can help me import, and then once I get my goods, I pay them back? Are there such relationships that would enable someone to get into such a business if they don't have the required amount of money immediately, but they have the place to import from?
Yeah, I know some places, I know some organizations which fund. If you have coffee, maybe for instance from Burundi, you can deal with that an organization and they can cater for you until to their store. Whereby once the coffee runs in their store, that is when you make payment. And still banks, even banks still finance. There's something we call collateral management. You go, you do agreements with them, and once the coffee gets in Kenya, they are the ones to take the responsibility.
Okay. Yeah. Sasa kuna mtu ambaye labda amesikiza hadithi yako, umeeleza kwa undani sana. Nitakapoingia katika shughuli ya kufanya mahuruji ama kuimport vile vile na kuexport, je, hapa naweza baki na hiyo biashara yangu kwa muda?
Well, one thing I believe about coffee business is a very good business to venture into. But of course it has its own challenges, like any other business, because number one, documents. Getting those documents, you know, coffee business is not, it's not like selling clothes. You wake up in the morning, you just say, I want to start selling clothes. You need to have relevant documents for you to be able to venture into that business. So, without those documents, it will be very tricky, it will be risky for you.
So kwa vijana pia hapo kuna...
Kwa vijana, still it's very possible. That's one thing I believe. The best thing, you go to wherever, get the required documents, and you venture.
Very quickly, you can tell us what is the advantage of exporting through an agent as opposed to not using one?
Using what?
Using an agent. What is the advantage of going through you in this business?
Okay, the advantage, I'll do all the documentations for you. Actually, for you, you tell me, this is the consignment. You give me the relevant, when you want the coffee to be taken, for me, I'll pick the coffee from your warehouse to the port. Sometimes we do even destination, door to door, whereby once I pick your coffee, I'll get an agent on the other side who is going to pick until to the destination where it's supposed to be.
Asante sana Makena, umeeleza kwa undani kabisa, furaha iliyoje kwamba unamiminika maarifa, unaelewa kazi yako kweli kweli kutoka kwake. Naamini kwamba karatasi, kalamu umeandika na sasa unafahamu mengi kuhusiana na kufanya mahuruji na vile vile kusafirisha kutoka katika mataifa nje kuja katika taifa la Kenya. Kutoka kwangu Emmanuel Terer nisemeje, salia na Mwenyezi Mungu, kumbuka tutatimiza ndoto.
All right, now we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so very much, Susan Makena, for making making time and teaching us so much on all matters exporting and importing. We'll definitely have you back someday soon because I feel like we're not yet exhausted with that conversation. But thank you so very much for making time. Now, you do realize right here at Kenya's Gold, we're very keen to make sure you not only learn how to farm, but also learn the agribusiness aspect of things, a way of learning how you can turn the green in your farm to a greenback in your bank. Thank you so very much for watching. We see you again where we continue with our mission tomorrow on learning from our farmers, appreciating our farmers, inducting and onboarding new farmers like you and I. See you tomorrow. My name is Violet Angina. Goodbye.